news story of the day, not the most important. CNN revealed their view of that this afternoon when they cut away from Nikki Haley at the UN to this.
We must not overlook Russia and Iran's roles in enabling the Assad regime's murderous destruction. Russia and Iran have military advisors.
We're going to break away from Nikki Haley's testimony before the UN Security Council. We have breaking news just in. The New York Times just reported that the FBI today raided the offices of President Trump's longtime attorney, Michael Cohen.
Well, that raid reportedly is connected to the Stormy Daniels story, which CNN covered wall to wall. And of course, Stormy Daniels is way more important than any war with Syria. That's CNN's position. Is it Mark Steyn's position? He joins us tonight, author and columnist. Mark, Mark is one of those moments when the priorities become really clear. You cut from the UN, we may go to war, Stormy Daniels news breaking. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw this new film, Chappaquiddick, over the weekend, and after Ted Kennedy has his car accident, his dad, Joe Kennedy, calls in all the old Kennedy fixers, and they're thrilled because Chappaquiddick happened at the time that man was about to set foot on the moon.
Yes.
And so they thought, oh, this is great. If man sets foot on the moon for the first time ever, this will bury Ted's car accident and we'll be okay. You can bet that if man set foot on the moon for the first time and they raided Trump's lawyer's office, that Trump's lawyer's office would absolutely crush one giant step for mankind, would bury it. It would be on the foot of page 37, and no one would ever know man had landed on the moon. That's the priorities over at CNN.
Not if you had Stormy Daniels pictures to accompany it. So what did you make? I know.
It's as I said to you last time. I mean, it was a perfectly good sex scandal, and now it's a $130,000 campaign finance infraction that Robert Mueller and the FBI are going to pursue to the ends of the earth if necessary. They don't care how many millions of dollars they spend nailing some guy on a $130,000 campaign finance infraction. I like my sex scandals to be about sex, not about campaign finance.
I totally agree. It's way less appealing when it becomes campaign finance related. All right, so I know you follow news from the UK. The mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, is now, not making this up, vowing a crackdown on knives, cutting implements, following a crime wave there. He said, and I'm quoting, "There's never a reason to carry a knife," in vowing to punish all who do. Meanwhile, in New York, in related news, Bill de Blasio aide Regan Stevens was arrested after she was caught with an illegal handgun in her car. What do these add up to other than, like, the end of Western civilization?
Well, it's interesting to me in Britain because I believe the National Cutlery Association has come out strongly against background checks for people who want to own knives, and you know they're thinking that, you know, people, if you outlaw knives, only outlaws will have knives. And I use the term cutlery seriously because people use what's to hand. I was in a French village 2 summers ago, and a lady and 2 of her daughters were felt to be were in their bathing suits, and the Mohammed next to them went full Allahu Akbar, stabbed them with a fork, the fork he was having breakfast with, and a helicopter had to fly in and helicopter the wounded to a hospital in Grenoble. People use what's to hand. And the reality in London, as Katie Hopkins said on your show a couple of nights ago, is that 85% of last month's stabbings, both perpetrators and victims, are basically the result of modern immigration policies. And that, to tie it, what you were talking about with the general about the border, that's the issue. If you don't have a border, if you don't have a security perimeter at the border, you wind up having to have security perimeters over everything else, including cutlery displays in London supermarkets.
When you have a population that can't control itself, you can't have rights, actually, is the problem. So de Blasio's aide gets caught with an illegal handgun. Is this like PETA running a butcher shop? I mean, is there anything more hypocritical than this?
Yeah, because basically this is his advisor on criminal justice matters, and she's in a car that's filled with marijuana smoke with a handgun on which all the identifying marks have been rubbed off. And I think this gets to a point that we come back to time and again, that increasingly we live in a land where the laws don't apply to certain people. You know, he'll pull some strings, she'll skate, and if you're connected, if you're part of a governor's or a mayor's detail, you'll be fine. If you work for someone important, you're fine. And if you're just some guy living in some subdivision, you don't need a gun, you don't need nothing. And it's exactly that division. Right. It's that division.
America's
that is
getting a class system. No, I know.
Yep.
It's awful.
Latin
Steyn,
American
thank you
style.
for that. That's totally
Thanks,
true.
Doug.
And an economy to match. Ah!
Right.
Wish we had more time. See you in 2 days. Millions of Americans, meanwhile, addicted to opioids. But could the phone in your pocket